everyone, it's Jai452 here again, rummaging around in the land of cosplay, creeping around, seeing what secrets and interesting things we can find on Inside Cosplay. Joining me this week is my very special guest, Coco Death Metal. Hi Coco.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thanks. Yourself?
Pretty well, thank you. And we are recording, so that's fantastic. So we're just going to jump right into the deep end, and I'm going to ask you, when did you first start cosplaying?
Back in 2014 at Glasgow MCM. It was an idea between me and a friend to, see what a convention is like, and for fun would just be dressing up as our favourite anime characters at the time.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, who or what inspired you to cosplay? If there was a group of people, or if it was one individual person, or was it a character even?
Well, it was more like the character I'd cosplayed at MCM. I got a lot of people loving the cosplay and stuff, and I was like, wow, I wasn't used to all this kind of attention. Like, I'm not really a,
attention type person.
Yeah. And I was just like, whoa, what's going on? But I met so many cool people with amazing skills and stuff like that, and I was like, I really enjoy this, I've always been artistic, so I didn't get a chance to do artistic things until cosplay came along, and yeah. So I don't think there's particular people, but a group of the cosplay community in Glasgow, I think, just kept me going and going. So
awesome. I remember my first year cosplaying. I think it was in, I want to say 2015 that I started. It was the year that Robert England was at Collectomania.
Oh,
it was
right,
when Collectomania was transitioning from being Collectomania into Glasgow Film and Comic Con. I decided that I was going to cosplay my version of classic Harley Quinn.
Oh, nice.
So I had this handmade jacket, which I still own, and it's kind of almost like the type of jacket that a butler would wear.
Oh, right.
But it's designed where it's all black and red, and it's got the... this was one thing that I was really surprised that the seamstress did. She put a kind of PVC collar on it.
Oh, right.
And it was pure white and plasticky looking, and I thought it looked amazing. And the way it would sit on me was just so fantastic as well.
Yeah.
And I obviously had like my black trousers with diamonds sewn into them, and my Joker Why So Serious t-shirt, which I have no friggin' clue where it is. It's like the black eyes with the red mouth kind of style. Because I thought that would be something that Harley would wear, essentially.
Yeah, it's a nice wee Easter egg, so...
Yeah, and obviously, like, I had my hair... I think it was slightly more peroxide blonde at that point. And my big mallet, obviously, which was handmade and an absolute nightmare to make, but we'll get on to props. But the amount of... I think I was, like, one of only... Like, if I'm including myself, I think I was, like, there were 5 male Harleys that day. And every other one wasn't your, like, traditional classic looking. There were more New 52 looking, which at the time New 52 was like, burn it with fire. And the amount of people that would come up to me just astonished me. It was like, wow, people. Because I'm very much like yourself. I'm not if I'm on my downtime, I'm not a people person.
Yeah.
I'm like, just leave me alone. Just go away. But yeah, I was really surprised by it. And it's quite an interesting experience, because you do get taken aback by it. You're like,
yeah, you do, yeah.
Whoa, all these people. Actually, if I can just reach... Crap. If I can just reach something and not knock something over, I'd be lucky, but I'm not. I do have a picture here that I got taken, which is extremely dusty. That's terrible.
Right.
It tells you how old it is. It's extremely dusty. I actually got my picture taken next to the clock tower from Back to the Future.
Oh, right.
And because it's just a giant clock face, I thought that would be so fantastic. Like, me having my picture taken next to it as Harley Quinn, whom I've, like, this particular cosplay actually has its own life now, and it's called Hayden Quinn. But
all right,
whatever. I thought, okay, I have to get my picture taken next to the clock tower because this character would have the backstory of being raised by Barbara Gordon, who is Oracle, and she works in the clock tower in Gotham. So I'm like, tick, 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 you know. And here, and I do apologise for the glare, but that's kind of what I looked like on the day of my cosplay.
Oh, your cam's not showing.
That's alright. It's not showing my camera.
It's not showing. No.
Can you see me?
No, not now. No.
Oh, that's strange. We will pause this interview, guys, and we'll be right back.
No problem.
Okay, so give it another sec. And we're back. So, guys, this is the picture of me on said day. Now we will get a different look in on that, so because I have a copy of that on my computer, I'll get my editor to edit that in so you guys can see it and then completely embarrass me. But yeah, it was like really shocking how many people came up to me, and I remember talking to one of the other male Harleys, and I asked him, "Have you had many people come up to you today?" And he's like, "Only like a hand, like 2 or 3, and I'm like, seriously, I can't take 5 steps.
yeah, I get that feel.
You know, so my next question for you is: what has been the most challenging cosplay that you have ever done, both from the creating of the costume as well as the acting side of it? Because there is a tiny bit of acting involved in cosplay, whether that be how a character speaks, or how they move, or even just how they pose.
Yeah, so, well,
let's start with the making of the costume. To date, which one has been the most challenging for you to make?
Well, I cosplayed Reaver from Fable 3, and I would say that was probably one of the most challenging because there was just so much doing, trying to plan out how to, buy an old piece of clothing from a thrift shop or something and alter it and stuff like that. So it's I had quite a bit of challenge and things for that, especially the top hat because it was huge. So I was like, right, how am I going to extend this without it falling off my head with the weight? So, but yeah, I got there. Yeah, and as for my Gladio cosplay, like the sword was quite a bit of a challenge because I decided to build that before a convention, like 2 days before a convention. So yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I know. So I did think about going to the convention. It wasn't until a few days before I decided to go, and I was like, right, I can't go to this without his signature sword. So yeah, it was from waking up, working on it till I go to sleep at night, basically. So yeah.
Which one has been the most challenging for you from an acting standpoint?
An acting standpoint,
is there any character that was just so far removed from who you are as a person, or within the realm of what you're comfortable with? Because a lot of people have said to me that did I not feel at a place doing Harley because Harley is so out there.
Yeah.
She's a very, very out there character, as a lot of other characters like the Joker and Deadpool and various other characters like that. They're very outlandish, and I'm like, no, because I tend to focus on the aspects of the character that are very close to my own personality, or have traits of my own personality. While I'm not as outgoing and as bubbly and as crazy as she is, I am kind of bubbly. You know, when it strikes me, I'm kind of bubbly. But like, again, has there been any kind of characters that are very far gone? Like, for instance, for me, Poison Ivy was extremely far gone because I had to really push myself to flirt with other people.
Right.
Like, just flirt with them or give them suggestive kind of banter. Has there been a character like that for you?
Well, each character obviously has its own personality and stuff. A lot of them always seem to go for more kind of, you know, I don't know if I can say it's badass characters, but I think the one I had to act the most was doing Sebastian from Black Butler, because it was like whenever anyone recognised the cosplay, they just expected this, you know, gentleman style kind of character and stuff like that. So it's, yeah, I thought that was probably the most challenging, to just keep up that throughout the con. There was times where I would just relax and speak to them and stuff, but most of the time when you're just having people coming up for a quick chat or just photos or something, you know, you act as the character and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd say that was probably the most challenging.
Okay. My next question is very similar to the last one, but we're going to apply it to both you and what your thoughts are on other people. So in your opinion, what is the most difficult character or thing to cosplay as, both from the making of the costume and the acting side? And let's start with in regards to yourself. So what is something that you would look at and think, I don't know how I would either A, make that, or B, act that character?
Well, most recent one being Gladiolus from Final Fantasy. It's kind of hard to sort of be his character, because he is quite a good guy, as well as being, you know,
Mr. Broody.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say that for definite, and for wearing that costume and stuff, like being comfortable in it. I mean, it was a big step because, you know, no way would I have shown any of my body to anyone. So I even decided to go to the gym and stuff and try and get in shape for it and that. But it is difficult, that costume. I mean, it's all kind of leather, so you're sweating a lot still. And,
I can imagine.
Yeah, so it's... and you've got this big sword where you just keep bumping everyone with it.
I'm definitely going to need to ask you off camera at some point where you got, like, because I've seen your Gladiolus pictures, and fantastic job, by the way, very well done. But I am going to have to ask you where you got some of that leather stuff, because I do have a cosplay that two cosplays that I'm supposed to be working on.
Right.
That I'd like to debut at some point, and both of them include leather.
Oh, right.
So
well, yeah, I'll ask you.
I'll ask you about that later. So the same question again, but in regards to other people. So what is something that if somebody came to you and said, "Oh, I'm thinking about doing blank," what would your reaction be? Would you maybe advise somebody against doing a specific character, or would you like do your best to try and help them?
I would do my best to try and help them, because if someone comes up to you and says they want to do this character, and especially if they're passionate about it, but want to do this character, and you know, you never know how it's going to look, because 9 times out of 10 you look completely different from normal and cosplay. So I don't think it's something to worry about much. no matter what character you're doing. As long as you're having fun with it, and if they come up and ask me what I think of it, I'm 100% go for it. You know what I mean? 100% go for it. And if I can help them in any way with advice or anything, then I would.
Have you ever come across like, because you're mentioning it's one thing to make the costume, but another thing to kind of like wear it. And the finished product can look extremely different from what it is when you haven't got it on, kind of thing. Have you ever had anybody ever look at pictures that you've had done and then not recognise you at all?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been conventions. I mean, Decon convention, no one recognised who I was because they always remembered me as being this like scary long-haired vampire or something. So then all of a sudden got all the hair out my face and everything, and just completely different, you know. So yeah.
So is there any particular cosplay, and this is going to be a little bonus question here, any particular cosplay that you yourself wouldn't do because A, you just either haven't got that level of skill, or B, haven't quite figured out how to make that particular costume yet? And in addition to that, is there anything that you would advise somebody else not doing, like for instance a beginner to making cosplays? So let's start with the beginner question. So somebody else, is there anything that you would advise a new cosplayer not to try to begin with?
I would say probably like I haven't done any armour things probably myself, so you know that's probably one thing I wouldn't suggest, considering I've been cosplaying for a few years. So it's
funny that you should say that, because that's what most people say when I ask them that question. They're like, if you're a new cosplayer, don't jump in at the deep end with armour.
Yeah.
You know, if you have that skill set, then by all means, you know, if you feel as if you have the passion and the time and the possibility of throwing things all over the entire world and screaming obscenities at what you're trying to make, then yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I wouldn't exactly tell them not to, but I would say, like, you know,
just be sure that it's
what you're dedicated to doing. So yeah.
So in regards to yourself, is there anything you yourself wouldn't approach either at this moment in time because lack of a particular skill set, or is there just something that you would just go, I just don't know how to do that?
Well, I mean, there's quite a lot of armour cosplays, as we were just talking about, that I would like to do. I think that's my next step, is to go into doing things like that. Maybe last year I would have just looked at it and be like, no chance. But yeah, I mean, the more complex cosplays are getting, and the more fun I have with harder projects and stuff like that, it's, you know, it's hyped me up more to go and do armour things. I think cosplays that would probably show like full top body or something like that, like, wouldn't be quite comfortable with that yet. So
let me put a for instance to you then. A friend of mine, Super Matt, hi Super Matt, who is an American cosplayer, has done Avatar before.
All right.
Not as in Last Airbender, as in James Cameron's Avatar, like the Na'vi. And he did the actual look, so it was like a loincloth with prosthetic tail, but he also did full blue body paint.
Oh wow.
Which, as he mentions in his interview, is a very, very long process. It was even more long than when he started it, because he didn't have an airbrush at the time.
Oh Christ! Okay.
So yeah, very long, long process. And if you have an airbrush, or have the ability to get an airbrush for like cosmetic use, guys, it is so fantastic. I myself haven't had the opportunity to use it. I still use the paintbrushes and sponges, so if I take forever putting on a cosplay, then I'm sorry, but tough. But he mentions how it's so... He was very, very apprehensive about doing that cosplay, but once he got out there, he was just like, oh, it's so great.
Yeah,
you know? Would that be something that you would ever maybe consider, like doing body paint in addition to maybe like pieces of a costume?
Yeah, I mean, I would give it a try. I mean, it would be a pain to, as you say, cover your whole body in a paint and get it just consistent as possible. But there's quite a few people I've spoken to that does full body paint cosplay and stuff, and the horror stories they tell me, especially at cons when it starts melting off and stuff like that. So you've got to make sure they're setting it all fine and stuff like that. So, but I mean, I would give it a try, but I wouldn't make it a main cosplay to do. I would just do it like maybe a one-off now and then. So
I think those particular types of cosplay, you really only can do them as a one-off.
Yeah,
you know, because they take an extremely amount of time to actually get into, and as in addition to that, like you mentioned, they do melt, so it's very difficult to keep them kind of together, and you can only, you need to be extremely careful at what time of the year you pick them as well, because he was he was smart enough to do it in the summer, or his summer at the time. You know? But he did mention also that was one thing. If he was very like this when it came to walking through the crowd.
Yeah, you don't want to like get paint on other people when you're walking around and stuff. So.
Okay, so my next question would be: there are two types of Comic Cons that we can go to throughout the year. There is your big once-a-year ones, which are like your London Film and Comic Cons, your Glasgow Film and Comic Cons, your... I can't think of another
MCM.
one. MCM, thank you.
Yes.
And then there's your smaller, more local ones that happen maybe every 2 months.
Yeah.
Give or take, depending on where you live. If you live over in America, it's every weekend.
Wow.
To which we scream, "You son of a bitch."
Exactly.
Or every 2 weeks. Out of those two types of Comic Cons, which do you prefer going to? Are you the big once-a-year one, or are you the smaller, more local one, or do you like a blend of the two?
I like a blend of the two. Like the big ones like MCM and stuff like that. Like I'll always go to London MCM in October each year too. So they're my two big ones, the Glasgow and London MCMs each year. And they're like a must. They've got to be booked and everything sorted for it. Other ones, like I'll try make it to them, but it's not always, top priority to me. Yeah. So I always make sure I make Decon in Dundee. So always make sure I make that one. It's getting bigger each year, so it's good.
It's good to go and support the events that are growing, even if they don't intentionally mean to. So my next question for you is, when you are getting ready to do a cosplay event, what is the one thing that you're most excited for, and also the one thing that you either used to or still kind of do on some level find the most nerve-wracking?
Oh wow. Well, especially if I've got a new cosplay and going to a convention or event or anything like that, it's always just like a big gamble, because I'm just like, is this going to look good? Is it going to be this, that, next thing? Even if I've tried it out and I'm like, okay, maybe I think this looks okay, but to other people, stuff like that. But
every cosplayer ever.
So, but really, I mean, it's a little silly to be thinking like that, because at the end of the day, it is just for fun. You know what I mean? So, I do it for fun, and But I've always been this pernickety person where I've got to have everything, every detail right and stuff like that, and so it's a bit of a challenge. I kind of put it on myself, to be honest.
So what is the one thing that you're most excited about when you're doing these events?
Most excited? Probably just seeing all the awesome cosplays. I mean, that's the biggest part, and meeting new people and meeting old friends and stuff in the community. That because, I mean, most of them are in Glasgow and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, and I stay in Fife. I don't get to see much of them very often. So,
the crazy thing for me is that, like I mentioned to you before we got started, a lot of the people that I've interviewed are from the Glasgow area, which, yay, Glasgow! And I feel so bad because, like, I live about an hour and 30 minutes away from Glasgow.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't sound like much, but when you're travelling on public transport...
Oh, yeah.
It's
I'm about 2.5 hours, so...
I feel your pain. They're always asking me, when are you coming down next and what's your next con? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, you can't really say exactly, or,
And I would love to tell them, I'm coming down this time, or I'm coming down that next time, or this is my next event. And then, because, like, life is such a crazy thing. You could say I'm doing this event and then bam, on the morning of that event, you're not going anywhere because you're literally stricken down or having to go into work or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I understand what you mean on that front. They're so nice, and they desperately want to see all of us, and it's just like, you feel bad for telling them no. Like,
work gets in the way and whatever. So
but the strange thing is, they're so nice about it as well. They're like, oh well, maybe next time.
Yeah, they never, slant you for not appearing or anything. They're that laid back.
Which is absolutely fantastic. While you've been at these events, have you ever taken part in the cosplay competition or the cosplay masquerade, as it's known over here?
Yeah. When was it? Was it last year? I think. Anyway, one of the years at MCM Glasgow, me and another person done a performance in the masquerade, and after it, like, we were absolutely shattered. So just like, right, we're going to get this done and leave. And so we did, to get ready for the after party. And then we started getting messages from people saying, where are you guys? You guys won. And I was like, what? So it's quite a shock. But just, there was no intention to win. We just wanted to go up and kind of show our cosplays off, and there we had it. It was just, we won one of the days at the MCM Glasgow. So, and I've taken part in a few other stage things, like just either not even doing a performance, just go and show off the cosplay and stuff like that. So, yeah.
When you've been involved in these particular events, have you ever won anything? And if so, what was running through your head when they called you up?
I haven't really won anything. Well, sorry, that's a lie. I was at Play Expo the weekend there, and I'm sure it was for best prop or something. I didn't expect that because there were some amazing cosplayers there, and I was just like, I'm nothing compared to this, So I was quite shocked at that. But yeah, I was just, I didn't pay attention to start with, and everyone was just getting a nudge and be like, yeah, they're shouting on you to go up, by the way. And I was like, what did I win? So I ended up going up in the side of the crowd and everything, but yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story. I got to go to a smaller, more local con in Glasgow at the Trades Hall, roughly around the time of Halloween. And I knew I was going to this Comic-Con in advance, and I was just sitting there going, oh, what can I do? What can I do? And for some strange reason, that night, I just popped in a DVD to sit and watch it, and it was The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like Sally from that movie. I think she's a fantastic character.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, look, I'm still trying to think, what can I do? And when Sally came on screen, I was like, that's it. I can mix Sally with Harley and do a Patchwork Harley. So I went along to this event as Patchwork Harley, and I entered the competition, and I was just like, I'm not going to win. But I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just having fun.
Absolutely.
And there was a girl from Kill la Kill who got second place.
Right.
There was a girl who I feel so bad that I didn't get the chance to actually talk to more, who was cosplaying as Mulan, cosplaying as Ping.
Oh, right.
And she never broke character the entire time. Like, whenever you would speak to her, she would introduce herself startingly as Mulan, and then she would correct herself and go, I'm Ping, I'm Ping. And I'm like, oh, that is so fantastic. I want to take you aside and talk to you.
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
Nobody can see. So she got first place, and it was very well deserved because her armour was so on point.
Yeah.
Like, if you to look at this armour, you would literally say, no, that has to be bought from Disney.
Right,
so, like, to right down to the finest detail, it was so amazingly detailed. Not to put down anybody else, you know, like the girl who did the character from Kill la Kill was fantastic as well. Mm-hmm. I personally have never watched Kill la Kill, so don't ask me to name the character.
Oh, no, it's okay.
When they announced the third place winner, they said, and we'd like to re-welcome to the stage Patchwork Harley. And I'm like, because I was filming the event, I'm looking around like this, like, where's this other Harley, you know? And I was with my friend at the time who was doing a zombie Joker, and he's like, that's you. And I'm like,
you what?
oh yeah, so it is. So I go up on stage, I accept the prize, and I don't know why, but as I came off stage, I was literally shaking for some weird reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether I was about to burst into tears, but the next thing I do, I just go up to my friend and I hug him so tight.
Yeah.
You know, like, I can't believe I won. This is so fantastic. Have you ever had a moment like that where you're just like, oh my god, people think I'm good.
Yeah.
And I'm not, really, I'm just lucky.
I'm sure you're good enough.
To be honest, when I looked at the costume, because I looked at the costumes more critically than probably anybody else, I was just looking at it going, I've just tied ribbons to this costume.
Right.
Because it was my classic Harley look, you know, and I was just tying various ribbons all over it. And I'm like, why would people think this is good? It's just the initial costume with ribbons on it.
If it works, though, it works, you know.
The funny thing was, somebody had sent me a message on Facebook saying, everything is better with ribbons. And I'm like,
so...
Yep, you knew. But yeah, I mean, ribbons make everything better, apparently. Well done. Okay. So, my next question for you, and this is again in your opinion, what are the top 5, and if you can't get 5, go with 3, best things that a new cosplayer can do when they're prepping to go to a con, and also the worst things that they can do when they're prepping to go to a con?
Well, definitely being well prepared way before the con event. It's like it seems to be an over talked about thing where people just kind of leave it at the last minute. Like I mentioned earlier on, I left my sword to 2 days before to build. So I wouldn't do that. I would definitely do a lot of prep, and normally like funds and money for attending these things are a big thing too. Mm-hmm. So again, give it time to decide whether you're going to this con, and it gives you time to save up and everything like that. What else? I would say, like, when they're first going to a con, not to be too, like, I remember I was quite nervous about it and stuff like that, going to my first con, but you end up relaxing pretty well, pretty quickly. So, because everyone's so chill and everything, so it's something not to really worry about too much. Try to think what else.
That's okay.
All right. Those are probably the main things about prepping for going to a con or event. For me, I can't really think of much else, to be honest, at the moment.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Okay, so we're going to move into an interesting territory here. Mm-hmm. Age differences.
Yeah.
Now, when I first started cosplaying, I didn't really know what to expect, because you very rarely do when it's a new thing. The only input I had about Comic-Cons or cosplaying in general was coming from the States. It was all Americanized stuff that I was looking at. Mm-hmm. And I started to notice a kind of pattern within the age groups. Granted, I've seen like family units cosplaying, and I'm like, okay, you've got your mom, you've got your dad, you've got your kids. But to be perfectly honest, they don't look as if they're cosplaying, they just look as if they're going to a fancy dress party.
Right, yeah.
And that's what it kind of looked like to me, so I kind of put aside the idea of family cosplays.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of like said, right, I'll put that in a box and put it to the side. But what I did notice was when it came to other group pictures, there seemed to be a somewhat interesting age pattern, which seemed like mid to early teens to mid 30s.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, okay, that must be the demographic of cosplayers. And I thought, well, I'm well within that demographic, because when I first started cosplaying, I was years old. So I thought, okay, that's fine. I know this demographic or this age group, and I know how to appeal to this age group, so I'm good.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I first went to my first Comic-Con and I stepped foot through the door, I was so shocked to see so many different age groups all cosplaying, varying from holy crap, this child is only a couple of months or days old to it'll be another few days before I'm in a wooden box being buried 6 feet under. To put it bluntly,
Yeah.
When you first started cosplaying, did you have a similar idea in your head about age groups?
Yeah, I did. I was just like, when I started cosplaying, I was like, right, well, I'm in my 20s and it's fine, but I was a wee bit apprehensive about having people, like meeting younger people or older people through it. So, try to think what else. You all good?
Yeah, sorry, one sec. I'm just going to pause this. We'll be right back, guys.
No.
So you were saying that you were in your 20s when you first started kind of cosplaying. Did that make you slightly more apprehensive, or were you just kind of like, you know what, I'm going to go for it? Because it will be my age group predominantly.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I was just decided go for it. I was like pretty much mid-20s and stuff like that. So it was just, I was once I did attend a con, it was like a ton a lot younger people running around and stuff, and I was like, oh dear. But not that I mind, there are
no,
like that. I got in and I started seeing people much older than me and stuff like that, and I was just like, wow, it's just, I feel a lot more comfortable now because it's just like there's just people at all age groups there. I mean, at London MCM, I seen this old lady, it must have been the same age as my gran, dressed as Sylvester and Tweety's owner. Yeah. Going around with a Sylvester.
Did you? Oh my god, because I've seen that picture so many times.
Yeah.
And I always think that people who do that are amazingly fantastic. I'm instantly drawn to them because I honestly think this is just a theory of mine, of which I have tons.
Mm-hmm.
But I always think that people who use their age to their advantage are the smartest people on the goddamn planet.
Absolutely, because she looked fantastic. She looked exactly like the one from the Looney Tunes and everything. It's just perfect.
I also think that we are, being in the UK, we have a slight more advantage than America. Because, now I'm not saying that young people can't do this, because that would be mean. But when you reach a specific age in the UK, you can then transition from doing characters that are possibly a lot more young to doing a particular Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Because we're lucky enough to have Doctor Who in this country. We're a country of origin for Doctor Who.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why not use something to kind of proudly say, hey, we acknowledge that Doctor Who exists and we're the country that gave birth to him.
Yeah.
And there's always a Doctor Who personality at a Comic-Con. I mean, I don't think I've been to a Comic-Con where there wasn't a Doctor Who person.
Absolutely.
Be that either in cosplay or celebrity that was there. So, and the celebrities always love that kind of cosplay aspect as well. I've had multiple celebrities look at me when I'm in cosplay, and I'm assuming you'll be the same. Have you had any interactions with celebrities that are enamoured with your cosplay?
I haven't actually, sadly enough.
Oh.
I did try to meet, I think it was one of the artists or executive producers or something of the Final Fantasy series at London MC. I can't remember what aspect, but I badly wanted to meet them in a cosplay and stuff. But it was just, I seen the line and I was like, I'm going to be here all day. So
I will tell you two stories very, very quickly. My friend Luna, I want to say Lunatic Cosplays.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
I think that's her cosplay name. But she's I tend to refer to her as her real name because she shares, oddly enough, a real name with my mother. So just easier to call her by that. Can't call my mother by her real name, but I can call my friend by her real name. Either that, I call her my bus buddy because she lives quite close to where I live, kind of thing. So if I'm on the bus going to Glasgow, 95% of the time she'll probably pop on going to Glasgow as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She got the opportunity to meet James Masters, who plays Spike on Buffy. And she was actually cosplaying as a gender-bent version of Spike at the time. Do you know who I'm on about?
That just so happens to be my girlfriend.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I was like, Lunatic Cosplay? Yeah, I'm sure that's what she used to be called. No, she's Luna Seal.
Luna Seal, okay. Yeah. I remember the day that she met Spike, and it's kind of funny because I was annoying her at one point to get her coat because I was freezing that day. I don't know whether she told you the story or not, but I was half dressed at the time, and I'm like, can I just borrow your coat because I'm absolutely frozen? And she's like, but then I won't be warm. And I'm like, that's not my problem. That's really not my problem.
Yeah, she's always freezing.
She got the opportunity to meet James Masters, like I said, and she was so, like, she came away from it and she was shaking, and I'm like, oh, hon, you bet she got to meet him. I did, because there's a queue a mile long. But one person I did get to meet, and I was so thankful for it, was Sean Astin.
Sean Astin? Okay.
Yes. Now, I have mentioned this once before, but I work for this lovely little website, iGameOnline.net, and at the time we were podcasting a tabletop MERP session, which was set in the world of the Lord of the Rings. I think we were running alongside the events of the War of the Rings storyline, so the initial main Lord of the Rings storyline.
Yeah.
So when we found out that Sean Astin was going to be at this, I was like, I will do my best to go up to him and give him one of our business cards. So it's the end of the day. I am tired from walking around in sandals and frozen from walking around in little to no clothing. I'm extremely tired. I just want to go home. Yeah. And I say to my cousin, let's go and see if we can grab one or two celebrities before they disappear. Because we'd already met one of the girls who was on Game of Thrones. And after almost knocking the living F out of her possible boyfriend or husband, as I was trying to sort some leaves, I thought, right, okay, let's just go and try. We were trying to get two of the Power Rangers to prove to my cousin's friend that two Power Rangers were there. But they were already gone by that point, so we're like, eh. So we peek around the corner to where Sean Astin was, and I seen him and he was there, and he was signing like autographs for the next day. And I'm like, look, he's probably tired, so I don't want to get an autograph or anything off him. I just want to go up, give him a card and go, because I'm tired and hungry.
Yeah.
So I get my business card out and I walk over to him, and the security guy stops me and says, oh, I'm sorry, but he's finished for the day. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but I don't want to like go up and talk to him or get an autograph. I just want to give him this business card and go. You know, like just like, here, bye. And he's like, no, he's done for the day. I'm sorry, you'll need to come back tomorrow. And I'm like, I'm only here for today. Can I please just give him this business card? And he's like, no, he's done. And I'm like, well, can I give this business card to you to give to him? And while this is all happening, Sean obviously overhears it and he calls me over. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to say no to him if he's calling me over. Like, F you, security guard. So I go over to him and I say, look, I know you're probably tired. I know you're probably hungry. I know you probably just want to go off, maybe speak to your family via Skype or whatever. All I want to do is give you this business card and be on my way. Because I've got a costume to get out of before I leave.
Right.
And he's like, so he's like signing away as I'm saying this, and he looks up at me as I say, I just want to leave. He looks up at me, takes one look at me like this, and then goes back to signing and says to me, so what's your story then? I look down at myself like this and just go, well, I'm what happens when Poison Ivy has a one-night stand.
Yes.
You know, just like, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah.
So he then looks up at me and I says, look, all joking aside, I just want to give you this card that has the iGame logo on it. We do a tabletop role-playing session that is set in the Lord of the Rings, and I know it would mean a lot to the people that record the show with me that I've had the chance to meet you, give you the card and say that that's what we're doing, and we'd love for you to sit and listen to it at some point if that's within your realm of possibility. And he pulls over a picture of himself dressed as Samwise, and I just thought, right, obviously he's signing it for the next day kind of thing. And he asked me my name, and I'm like, And I gave him my name. And then at that point, I'm calling over my cousin like this frantically, like, get over here, get over here.
Yeah.
Because he had all my stuff, and I was like, I'm not going to, like, not pay the guy.
Yeah.
So I'm fumbling around trying to get money out of my wallet, and he's like, oh, no, here, just take it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, jammy fecking me. So I walked away with a free autograph, which was fantastic, because considering the last autograph that I paid for at that very same event cost me 25 quid.
Yeah, you normally do cost that.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like really shocked at that, and everybody really loved it, and they're like, yay, you got to meet Sean Astin. And I'm like, not only that, but I got a picture of two people who were dressed up like Arwen and Aragorn. And I actually, when I first seen them, thought they were Renaissance people.
Oh my god.
Honestly did. I was like, are those Renaissance guys? Oh wait, no, she's wearing the Even Star, so no.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
So, yeah. Have you had any interactions like that yourself?
Sadly, no, really.
They're so funny when they happen.
Yeah, I mean,
seriously.
I did meet the voice actors from the anime Ruby, but it was mainly for a friend that was completely obsessed, and he couldn't make the con, so I was like, right, I'm going to get things like signed for him and stuff like that. So I've not done that for him, but they were really cool, the actors, you know. So
the interesting thing was the friend of my cousin who didn't believe that there was going to be a Power Ranger there. There was two. There was Rocky from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And one of the guys from the Mystic Force, I think it was. And the Mystic Force guy saw me in costume, and he just kind of looked at me really weirdly, and I'm like, and I just literally went like this, like, the funny thing was, I was kind of looking at him as if to say, right, well, you might be in plain clothes, but to be perfectly honest, I'm going to be a lot, like, better temperature-wise today than you are, so F you. You know, walk on. Okay, so let's talk about props.
Props, okay.
Now, for me, props fall into 2 categories and then 3 subcategories. But your 2 main categories are, it can go to a Comic-Con, it can only go to a photo shoot. And then your 3 subcategories are, oh my god, this prop is massively huge, will break my back, and can only ever really be used every now and then. It is medium size, so it can go with me. It's slightly annoying after about 7 hours of carrying it around, but it's doable. And they're nice and small and go in my pocket, and I can easily whip them out, and they're not a pain in the ass.
Aye.
When you're doing a Comic-Con event, now I know before you say it, it really depends on what you're cosplaying as, but if you're going to a cosplay event, which prop size are you more inclined to take with you? Are you inclined to take the holy crap massively large, medium sized, or small?
I prefer to actually take props that are more noticeable, from medium to big props. I don't know, I just love doing big projects kind of things, so I mean, small things are fine too. I mean, I always have like small things with the cosplays anyway. So, but I mean, like I made this massive cannon once from an anime called Hellsing. The character Ceres in it, like this thing is like an anti-tank cannon, and I had to figure out how I was going to be able to detach this for travel and everything like that and things like that, but I managed to do it. So but everyone just kept, like, I wasn't able to get lost easy, put it that way, because I had this massive cannon like way up in the air carrying it. So a lot of people recognised it from that.
Is there any prop that you've done that you tend to specifically use only for a photo shoot?
Not really. I try to make props as much as I can to suit cons and photo shoots. It's getting more of a challenge with cons because there's more rules to props, to what they're made from, and etc. So
this is why when I revealed to you the 2 cosplays that I need to speak to you about with the leather, you'll understand why I picked those characters.
Yeah.
Because recent things that have happened, obviously, with the unfortunate attack in London and in Manchester, and then the events that happened over in America when something I found so weird, David Frank Jason being attacked at a Comic-Con event, and I'm like, the guy's an MMA fighter. You'd think he would know how to defend himself.
Yeah.
And the sheer fact that he was a martial artist long before that, otherwise he wouldn't have been picked to be Tommy Oliver on the Power Rangers. I mean, come on. But obviously, rules are rules, and when shit like that happens, you have to expect a little bit of, splashback. It's made doing specific characters extremely hard. Like, for instance, if I'm doing Harley, I need to pick my props extremely carefully. Like, I can't walk in with a real bat.
Yeah.
As much as I would love to. And even toy guns have had a massive crackdown on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that they haven't always had a massive crackdown on them, but it's more to the point now where they're saying you have to have the orange tip, and even in addition to that, it's like maybe even having the authentication thing to say that this is a certified toy, as well.
Yeah, that happened at Play Expo at the weekend there. They wouldn't let me walk out of the con with my toy pirate looking gun thing. Even had the orange tip and everything, but it was in my holster, and they were like, because it was sort of set in a / mall in a way, they were just like, yeah, you've got to leave that inside. So Luna Seal Cosplay, she had a table there, and I just kept it there.
I was getting told, in addition to things like that, if you like seriously want your item with you, obviously you get told, well, you'll be watched, but you might have to pay an additional like extra couple of £1 on top of the price of your ticket.
Yeah.
Like, my source wasn't 100% at the time on that, and she still isn't. So, is that the case? Can you clarify on that?
I'm not sure. Like,
if you're unable to clarify off the top of your head, then that's fine.
Nah, I can't really.
That's not a problem. So, when it comes to making props, if you're making them from scratch, on average, how long does it take you to make a prop?
I try to get things done within like a week. If that, like, it depends on if I have time in between work and college, things like that. I said my sword took 2 days, but that was a panic build. Other things I've built have sort of been maybe over a few weeks, but if I had time, I probably would have been able to do them in under a week. So, I mean, once I get started on a project, I just don't seem to stop until it's done.
I'm just going to pause you right there. Hold on.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so, yeah, props. Interesting little things there. It can take a while to get them done, and I would always, like, my piece of advice on props, just to finish it up, is if you know you're going to an event that you want a prop at, give yourself plenty of time to make it. Don't leave it until the last minute.
Absolutely, yeah.
And believe me, when you're making a prop, you can either go really, really fantastically detailed, which will cause you to rant, swear, and possibly get incarcerated. Or you can go very simplistic, where you will not get incarcerated. Go for the very simplistic.
Well, surprisingly, like, these guns were they're quite simple. These were wood, so I'm probably going to have to build them again out of something else.
Yeah, leave them at home.
Yeah. What I am going to do though is maybe try and get away with it and use vinyl over the guns. It's almost like an aluminium steel or stainless steel type vinyl. So almost, it can look more realistic, but it could be a problem for going into a con if they do look like steel guns. So, yeah.
So my next question for you is, what opportunities has cosplay opened up for you, if any?
Opportunities, well, I think just the biggest one is just being able to, let out my artistic side more, because, as I said before, I couldn't really get the time to do anything else. Like, I always done drawing and painting and everything, really. The only thing maybe you could consider artistic I've done was my music, with like my band and stuff like that.
Awesome.
But for actual like creating physical things and stuff like that, and that's one of the biggest things that's opened up for me, and getting to meet all these really cool people and sharing their ideas with me, and I'm sharing mine with them, and it's always a constant learning process.
Yes,
it's always interesting. So, yeah.
So my next question for you is your next 3 cosplays. Now, when I say that, I mean what is your next cosplay at your next upcoming event? So the next one you're going to, one that you're working on for maybe later in the year, and one that you're thinking about that might appear either to the tail end of this year or the beginning of next year.
Yeah.
So let's start with who you're going to be at your next event.
Well, I was going to try to make Glasgow Comic Con. I'll have to see if I can get off work for that, but yeah, I was just going to bring my Helsing one back for that, because a partner, she's doing, funnily enough, the Spike gender bend to it. I think so. I was like, well, I've got a vampire cosplay, I'll just do that. I'll be like a weird Helsing Buffy crossover.
Do you know what you should do? If she's doing Spike, you should maybe do Drusilla.
Drusilla, oh, that's interesting actually. Yeah, do like a male. Yeah, I'll look into that. In fact, that's a good idea. Thanks for that.
Not a problem. What I'm here for. So who is one that we will see possibly again that you're maybe tweaking, or something that you're working on that will be appearing later in the year?
Well, definitely Gladio. I mean, his sword isn't completely finished. There's still details to go up the blade and everything that I kind of missed out. And, because the main blade was made from foam mats, you could see the joins of the mats at some points and stuff. So it's just to kind of make that kind of more flawless and everything. And yeah. And plus, I've got a few others in mind I'm going to be working on. So
awesome. So my next question for you, well, on that front, is who is somebody that you're possibly thinking of that would appear either at the tail end of this year, or we'll see them at the beginning of next year?
As a cosplay?
As a cosplay.
Yeah. Well, again, going back to Hellsing, but I want to do the main character, but there's a section in the anime that he turns into his true form, which is Vlad the Impaler. You know, the original kind of Dracula.
I've been to Romania. I've seen what Vlad the Impaler looks like.
Yeah, he's quite a scary guy.
Not really, but, actually. He's quite regal looking, but yeah.
Well, the Alucard version of him is pretty terrifying. And it's got a lot, like it's full armour and everything, and the sword. I'm still going to keep the guns as a little, Helsing Easter egg thing. So I'm going to make holsters for them. But yeah, I'm going to try and fix that out. Also, I'm going to work on doing a gender bend lightning from Final Fantasy. So I've never seen that before. So.
I can actually possibly put you in touch with somebody who's already done a gender bent lightning.
Really?
Somebody that might be an upcoming interview has already done it over in America, and they've done it extremely well.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
Insanely crazy. Like I found it very difficult to differentiate male or female.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, whoa. But yeah, that'd be really cool to see. So before we do the Passover, which will be your opportunity to tell us where we can get a hold of you on social media if we have any further questions. But don't forget, guys, we do have a comment section. I think it's like down there. Do you see it, Coco? It's like down
somewhere.
There. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content, guys. I am trying to do the playthrough of the Telltale Game of Thrones game before the new series starts. Lord knows if I'll do it in time, but who knows? Also, don't forget that I am also working alongside Lord Blair, aka Blair Cosplay, I think his name was. When we're playing the Injustice 2 video game, we'll be doing the storyline for that. There is already a kind of potential playlist up for it, but I think that will be removed, or if it's not there now, then it's already been removed. Do apologise. And various other things happening on my channel. But before we really get into all of that, I'm going to ask you, Coco, what advice would you give to somebody who would like to start cosplaying but does not know where to start?
I would just, look for an event that interests you the most. In fact, not even an event. I mean, it could just be like a photo shoot, but that's a little bit more nerve-wracking for people, I think. Mm-hmm. So, but I would say go with a convention that you like most, even maybe just a small one to start with. If you've got social anxiety with anything or anything like that, confidence and stuff, it's always just good to maybe go for a smaller event. And I mean, and you don't have to always make your costumes. I think it's totally fine for people to buy costumes too. I've bought a few myself and made a few, and it's always just varies. I mean, my first cosplay was bought, but I tried to make up for it for the hairstyling, the makeup, the contact lenses, the props, things like that.
That's one thing I can't wear is contact lenses.
Yeah.
I think I really want to wear them.
So,
But yeah, I mean, that's really good advice. And as we have mentioned, guys, do put a comment in the comment section, and both myself and Coco will try to reply to you as best we can. If, however, you want to get a hold of me, you can through the Jai on iGameOnline.net Facebook. Or you can get a hold of me on iGameOnline.net, where we're a free website that you can go and sign up to. As you can see, we both have a YouTube page and a Facebook page. So go and check them out. There are multiple other shows for you though on the iGame website that you can go and listen to. As I have mentioned before, there is a aforementioned MERP series which will be coming to a close very, very soon. We have officially ended the recording on that on our adventure side of things, guys, so I'm very sorry about that. But there is another one that you can tune into on a Tuesday night, which is our live Dragonland session presented by introduced none other by Morgan Freeman. Big name there. And it stars myself and various other iGame members who are running around in the land of Kryn. But if tabletop games are really not your thing, we do have a weekly podcast where I am joined with Whisper Greentop, Sally Hayakula, Tarek Lee, Georgia Katie, and Honey Jade, as well as the wonderful Faye, who's only just recently started joining us at this point when we were recording. Again, if you for some reason cannot get enough of me, there is the TV drop that I do. where I get together with my wonderful co-host BVS and a few other guest people to talk about all things that have been happening that are TV as well as movies. We are discussing what our next project is going to be at this particular point in time, so be on the lookout for that, guys. And for whatever reason, if you want to delve more into the cosplay side of things, you can click on the NAUK button or the cosplay button on iGame, where you can catch up with Kobe Kicks, Alpha Beta, and Little Rascal, and see what Comic Cons they're going to, what events they're at, and various other things. But in the meantime, Coco, where can we get a hold of you if we have any further questions?
Well, you could find me on Instagram at Coco Death Metaler. So has a L-E-R at the end there. A lot of people seem to miss that out. I've also made a Facebook page yesterday finally for my cosplay under the same name, Coco Death Metal Cosplay. So yeah, just get a hold of me there, ask me what you want, and try my best to answer.
Now, don't worry if you missed those, guys. The links to these will be in the description of this video, so please do go and check them out and help support Coco as much as he can. And tell him I sent you and be like, hey, Jai sent me, I have a question. And we will do what we can to support you guys. In the meantime, I've been Jai452, Coco has been Coco, and this has been Inside Cosplay. And we will be back with another interview very soon, guys. Bye!
Bye, guys.